Welcome to Bisexual Disasters. I'm Zoe, my pronouns are she, they, and I am a bisexual disaster.
And I am Dimitri. My pronouns are he, him, and I am a minotaur with anxiety issues on certain days. Today
Ah,
was one of those days.
yeah. Welcome back, guys. It's been a while.
It has been a hot minute.
Yup. Uh, if this is your first time here, what are you doing listening to episode 17 first? That's a bit strange. You should probably go back to the first episode. Um,
Hold up, we've done 17 episodes?
this is episode 17,
Jeez.
yeah.
Wow. Okay,
Um,
we've done a lot more than I remembered.
yeah. Um, we have ADHD, we're bisexual, we're disasters. That's really all you need to know. This podcast is just about us talking about whatever the fuck we want to
Yeah,
talk about.
that's pretty dang accurate now,
Yeah,
isn't it?
sometimes we discuss more serious topics. Sometimes we don't. A lot of the episodes lately have been less serious because life is too serious for both of us. So
Ugh, you're not
this
wrong.
is a nice little escape.
A
So
little reprieve from the seriousness.
yeah. So how you doing?
Honestly, so much anxiety, but it's only because here in 7 days, we close on a house and I get to move in, and it's a house. It's not like a
Yeah,
temporary place. It's not a
buddy.
rented thing. It is a whole ass house. And I'm
Yeah,
so excited.
buddy. Let's go. House hype.
Oh, we
I don't
freaking
know where my
love it.
energy is today. It's really weird.
Welcome to it.
Yeah, I don't
What
know
about
what the
you?
energy is, but I'm here. um,
Right.
I I feel like I say this every fucking time. Therapy's going well. But it is like it's not like we're digging up all of the deepest traumas all the time and making groundbreaking discoveries, and it's like not every episode's like super serious hard kind of shit, but it's
Right.
just going there every week has been really helpful, just knowing that I have that to look forward to
Mm-hmm.
every week, to just go and just talk about whatever has been bothering me or exciting me or confusing me.
Right.
Just is really nice. She has a great cat. Her cat is a so I don't remember which way round it was, but one of her parents was a uh I think it was a Russian blue crossed with domestic short hair.
Oh.
And her other parent was a Siamese cat.
Oh, that sounds
So
beautiful.
she has short-ish,
Mm-hmm.
um, I would say a little bit longer than domestic short hair fur,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like denser and a bit thicker, kind of more similar to a Russian blue because their coats look a little bit denser than,
Right.
but it's like colored. She has the Siamese coloring to her fur. So it's this like thick,
Ooh.
dense, really soft fur that's like really nice. It's actually maybe a little bit longer than domestic short hair because I'm now just remembering the hairs that I get covered in every time she sits on my lap and I get to pet her for a bit. They're quite long. So yeah, a little longer than domestic short hair, but quite like a little, maybe a little bit denser, very soft and with Siamese coloring, and she is gorgeous. She will like wait for me before and after therapy. Sometimes lately she's been sitting in on the sessions for at least most, if not all of the session. And she has the cutest little meows, and it's just so sweet. Like, I already love my therapist. She's great, but like the cat is a bonus on top of that. It's just such a delight to see her.
I freaking love that.
Yeah, so that's been going well. It's nice to just talk about shit and
Mm-hmm.
with someone that's qualified to help me process things and figure out why things make me feel a certain way, what, where slash when that feeling might come from, what sort of traumas it could be compared to, that could be why my brain reacts certain ways. Just making those connections with someone who's literally been trained to make those connections is really helpful. Like
Oh,
it's really nice talking to like you and our other friends about stuff, but having a proper like official sit down with someone who has been trained to analyze those connections to help me make those connections is really helpful. But she's
mhm.
also not one of these people that like pushes the analysis. It's like
Oh yeah.
it's more gentle, it's more conversational, and then we can kind of make sort of, she kind of opens the door for, you know, my own realizations, and that's really nice because I've had some very cold therapy experiences in the past where it's very analytical, and I'm a very emotional person, so that doesn't work very well with me. But yeah,
Right.
it's, oh, she is a blessing upon my life.
We
So
love that.
that's, yeah, that's been going really well. Apart from that, I haven't really been doing much apart from gaming and crafting.
Hey, you know what? That works.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I had the experience on this most recent Friday where I got to, for the first time in my life, use a pressure washer.
Ooh.
And dear God, it is fun. So we found out that the sale was contingent on the garage being stripped of all peeling paint because it's an old garage, but like the neighbors want to replace it because it's a shared garage,
The one you have
and we
now?
want to do that too. The one that we're going to be moving into,
Okay,
the
gotcha.
house, it's got a shared garage between it and the neighbors. They want to
Okay.
replace it. I'm totally down for that. But in order for the sale to go through, our half had to be like removed of all peeling paint and then repainted.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, well, we need to do this soon because we close on it in a week. So we ended up going down. My fiance power washed most of it, but at the end of it, I got to power wash a ton of other things. And oh, we're gonna enjoy this.
Addicting?
Like spraying off the concrete and everything. Yeah. Okay. So you know Power Wash Simulator,
Yes, I do.
how like unreasonably like satisfying it is.
Mm-hmm.
Real life is the exact same.
Yeah,
100%. Like it is
I
satisfying.
love watching videos of power wash cleaning and like those rug cleaning videos as well.
Yes.
They they are particularly satisfying just to see those
Right?
processes get done. It's so good.
Like, yes, doing it in real life, it is time consuming, but
mm.
seeing the results immediately as you go is
Mm.
satisfying the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, my stepdad has a power washer that he uses for work and stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
So now that we have that,
I don't think I've
I'm really
used it.
excited because it's got it's got settings and nozzles.
I
And
don't.
there's a nozzle on there that's totally safe for not only cars, but dogs.
Oh, cute. Oh, I bet that's helpful when you've got fucking huskies.
Oh, I'm so prepared to use it. I haven't used it
Especially
yet on the dogs.
in like the hotter months
Mm-hmm.
when it's like they have quite thick coats, so having something that's a little powerful than your average garden hose but not so powerful it'll hurt them. I imagine that would really
Right.
help with a de-shedding while you clean. De-shedding
Yes.
while you rinse so you don't have to work quite as hard after they're dry.
Mm-hmm.
But also just being able to do it out in the garden is nice.
And right. And like I tested it. Like I went up to one of the branches we upheaved to get to the garage.
Mm-hmm.
I tried it with the softer nozzle. No damage to the plant at all,
That's good.
which is wonderful.
Good
I
sign.
swapped to the other one. It sawed right through this plant. I'm like, oh,
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 buddy.
I'm about to use this on concrete and other
Yep.
big things to make it all look good.
That's really cool
Ooh,
though that they have a nozzle that's safe for dogs. That's really
So
cool.
gonna abuse this.
That's that's epic.
Right?
I
Especially
didn't know that was
because,
a thing.
well, it's safe for cars and dogs because you don't want to damage a car, and it's
Mm,
like you can brush it straight onto your skin and it doesn't like damage it or anything. So it's gonna
mm.
be safe for dogs too, and it's gonna help pull all of that hair out. And I'm so excited. The only issue I have is making sure the dogs stay still.
Yeah.
It's huskies. Not gonna
Yeah.
happen.
Good luck with
But
that part of it.
I know. But we also found out the little wooden deck that they have in the backyard is also wide enough for the little canopy we already bought.
Mm,
So I can just install that on the deck and boom, I have a giant shaded area to sit.
nice.
I am hyped.
Woo,
But
woo.
as much as fun stories, that's about all I got. Otherwise, we have a very entertaining topic today.
Yes. So today we are going to be talking about our favorite video games, childhood favorites, adulthood favorites, and ones that are favorites for when we need to be comforted and just kind of escape reality and not think about life.
Exactly. Which are all incredibly, incredibly satisfying.
Mm.
I know my list is still smaller than Zoe's, but
I
hey.
feel like I always write big lists. I like lists. I also like a lot of things. I do a lot of things.
Let's see. I did a lot of talking. Why don't you go first with the first one?
Okay, sorry, I had to yawn. My body
How dare
apparently
you
didn't have
yawn?
enough alcohol. Alcohol? What? No, oxygen.
Alcohol?
I don't have.
Oxygen?
I haven't had any
Whoa.
alcohol. I promise. The last time I even touched alcohol was like a month ago.
Right.
um. Okay, so let's start with childhood favorites. The first one on my list is Pokemon. Which if you know anything about me, I feel like that's not a surprise at all. Um, I
Shocker.
I know I love Pokemon so much. Um, I'm now quite behind on games because there are so many other games I want to play. But small Bubby Zoe loved Pokemon. The first game I ever completed of all games I've ever played, the first one I ever completed was Pokemon Yellow. It was
Ooh.
my favorite. It's the reason Pikachu is my favorite character. Because I mean I already fell in love with Pikachu immediately when the anime came out, but then like
Hmm.
actually playing Pokemon Yellow and having him like run around behind you and getting to check your like friendship level with him, with the like you talk to him and you see his facial expression, and I loved all of that. That was just the best to me. So that, like, top of the list for childhood games. Like, that game is my childhood. I love that game so much. Um yeah, I lost it, or because technically when I played it it was my brother's still. Um
Hmm.
and then it got lost, and I didn't it wasn't my fault, but I got the blame for it. You know, older brothers as
Yeah. That's
but
that's 100%
but yeah,
fair.
I loved that game, and yeah, there were, I know there's always the like Pokemon versus Digimon debate, and I will always stand by my opinion that video game wise, Pokemon is better. I prefer Pokemon. Anime wise, I prefer Digimon, but game
Hmm.
wise, I prefer Pokemon because I mean, they've just made more of them. Um, that's really the main reason. They're just fucking good at making games, dude. Like, I don't know what to say. There was a Digimon game I did enjoy playing growing up, but I don't even remember what the fuck it was called. I think it was a PlayStation 1 game.
Hmm.
I don't 100% remember because I was small child and I don't remember. But yeah, Pokemon
Was
is my
small
first
and
one.
childish.
A small baby Zoe.
So
Oh, sorry.
me,
I just thought of
oh
another
what?
one that's like doesn't deserve like a whole discussion, but thinking about old PS1 games, there are also a couple of like honorable mention PS1 games that I did love playing, but I wouldn't put on my favorites list, which is
Mhm.
Wacky Races
Yes.
and Rayman and Crash Bandicoot were both on PS1, right?
Rayman was on PlayStation 1, I believe, N64 and Dreamcast.
And Crash Bandicoot, I'm pretty sure, was on
Yes.
PS1. And there was a little game called Alfred Chicken that was like a platformer where you were a red chicken. And I
Never heard
played
of
the
that.
shit out of that game. Um, that's like a really obscure one. And then there was one called Creatures, I think it was called, that I liked playing with my mum, where it was like you just had these little creatures and you had to like feed them and rescue them and stuff like that. And it was like another kind of
Hmm.
obscure one. And God, now I'm thinking of like so many PS1 games that again then don't really count as favorites, but I did really enjoy them. Abe's Odyssey as well is another one that we really liked playing that me and my mum will still quote to this day, because whenever like someone says follow me, we'll go follow me. And then the other one will go
Oh my
okay.
god.
That was just
Oh, that's
I
awesome.
love that game. I need to replay that game because I think I have that on one of my gaming platforms. It might be Epic Games, I don't 100% remember, but I have that somewhere, and I also have the new one that came out a few years back, and
Ooh.
I'm like holding off playing the new one because I want to replay the old one. But yeah,
So,
Pokemon and then a bunch of PS1 games that
yeah.
yeah.
For me, one of my favorite like childhood games was Sonic 2 for the Sega Dreamcast. Or not Dreamcast, the Genesis.
Mhm.
Jeez. I need to stop looking at my paper. That's throwing me off. But I loved this game. It is one of the first games I invested so much of my time into. I learned so much about this game in such a like small amount of time. I didn't even play the first Sonic the Hedgehog at like as my first. It was the second one. And I cannot tell you how many times me and my brother would swap between being like the player 1 and player 2 cuz you could hook up a second controller and control the NPC Tails
Mhm.
who would follow you around, and when you did, oh my god, it made boss battles so much easier because Tails, if he died, would come back like 2 to 5 seconds later. So you
Mm.
could you could just run around and like dodge everything while Tails goes in, can get hit any amount of times and just constantly deal out damage. It made life easy.
I think you've just answered a question that I've had for many years.
And that is?
I so we had a geography teacher in secondary school that gave us
Mhm.
like a USB stick with a few games on it
Mhm.
and was like, everyone, you can all copy these games into your, because we all had school laptops
Right.
for doing schoolwork on, obviously. But he was like, you're not meant to
What?
have games.
No.
However, I have a few games on this USB drive that are like, don't get caught. And if you do get caught, don't tell them who you got them from. But like, I'm trusting you with the responsibility of like, I'm gonna give you a few games you can play on your laptops. Just don't play them during class or like during any like school hours. Don't get caught. Don't tell them where you got them from, kind of thing.
Right.
And there was one that was like a flash game platformer where you played as like a little ninja guy, and it was very like grayscale. And one of them was a Sonic game, and I, for
Mhm.
the life of me, could not remember which Sonic game it was because it wasn't like labeled properly. But I just looked up Sonic 2 Sega Genesis gameplay, and it looks the
Mhm.
exact same. And I think that the version of Sonic he gave us back in 2005 on that little USB stick was a PC version of Sonic 2.
It
which is
was,
the
oh my
only
god.
Sonic game I've ever really, really enjoyed playing. Like
Oh,
the only, because I wasn't really a Sonic baby, I was a Pokemon
mhm,
baby, but that
yep.
was the one Sonic game that I played the shit out of. So if that is
I
what that
freaking loved it.
was, I 100% agree with you. That's a fucking amazing game.
Look, I freaking loved it. I loved how I discovered in the first like zone, which is called I think it's Emerald Grove or Emerald Island.
Is
It's been a hot minute since
Green
I
Hill
played it.
Zone not the first zone?
Green Hill, I believe, is the very first zone of Sonic 1.
Uh,
The second game though, the first zone I think is Emerald Island. I'm about to Google this real quick while I talk about it.
mm-hmm.
But in that zone, um, you had 8 posts. Emerald Hill is the name of it. Excuse me.
Oh.
Emerald Hill is one of the very first zones that you play. Well, it is the first one, but there's 8 posts throughout the entire like 2 acts. If you are talented enough and possibly have a friend who is going to play Tails and help you out, you can get all 7 of the Chaos Emeralds in that first zone and get Supersonic right off the bat.
Oh, nice.
We abused that
Maybe
because
maybe it was the first Sonic game
did you
that
have a
was
little
on that.
buddy following you around?
I think so. I think
Did
we had
is the first
Tails.
zone one where there was a ton of mushrooms that you jump
Oh,
on
I you know what?
and they
I'd have
boost
to
you up?
play it to remember because
That's fair.
looking at the screenshots of both 1 and 2, they look too similar for me to be able to tell which one. I'd have to play it.
The ultimate thing is if you pushed down and then B, would you like charge up for a dash or no, that wasn't a
I
thing.
don't remember. I don't. It
Ah,
was
okay.
more than half my life ago.
That's fair. But this
This
game
was when I was like,
literally
I don't know, 11 to 13, and I'm nearly 30. I don't fucking
look,
remember.
ouch.
I know,
But
it
this game
hurts.
got me into pixel art as well. Like
Mm.
I loved the pixel animation of it, and so I tried replicating it as a kid. It was bad. It was so bad.
I
Like
used,
no,
I used to love drawing
it was
Pokemon as
bad.
well.
Right?
There's so
So that's
many
at least the
old
first one I had on my
childhood
list.
drawings of me trying to draw Pokemon, and now I have some that I painted on canvas on my bedroom wall because that
Heck yeah.
habit didn't go away ever. I was like, oh, I can draw them better now.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness. But yeah, so that is among the very first games I invested a chunk of my life into and got
mm,
me into gaming.
nice. The next one on my list is The Sims.
Hmm.
Um, I fucking I have played every Sims game that came out. Well, I've played every of the Sims. I've not played all
Hmm.
of the like Sim City, and I've played some, but I've not played all of those. But I've played all of the main The Sims games.
Hmm.
I also really loved. We had one called Sim Park, which unfortunately they stopped like doing. Like I
Aw.
can't find it anywhere now. I might still have, because I had it on disc. I might still have the disc somewhere, and if I do, I mean this new PC. Also, oh yeah, I got a new PC. Ha. It's sexy as fuck. It doesn't have a disc drive because no PCs do these days. So I'd have to get an
Right.
external disc drive to get it to work, and even then it might not work. It might be too outdated. I'm
Mhm.
not sure. That's something I'd have to play around with. I think I do have an external drive somewhere. But you can't like download it digitally anywhere anymore unless there's some fucking back end of the internet where someone managed to hack it. I don't fucking know. But um yeah, I love the Sims games. Sim Park was basically like a wildlife reserve, and you like put animals in and you put plants in, and there's a whole like ecosystem mechanic. There are weather patterns, there are natural disasters that can happen. I think you could turn those off though, if I remember correctly. You could like
Mhm.
disable them. But they're like, you put these flora and fauna into this kind of wildlife reserve that you build, and it grows. You can add more, but also things breed, like both the animals and the plants breed and spread out, and they can affect each other. And it's like, it was really fun to play, but it was also really good to kind of accidentally learn about balancing ecosystems.
It was
Like,
educational, but
it,
also
it
entertaining.
yeah, like I played it because I'm a nature girly. I've always loved nature and animals and stuff like that, but it was also really good for teaching, like, through the gameplay, kind of things that can affect each other. And it teaches you about plant identification and animal identification. And because there was one part of it that was like kind of like a quiz, like a visual quiz, where or it's like
Hmm.
um like identifying what plant it is based on what the leaves look like. And it's like, okay, so they are smoothed edged, not toothed. So you select smooth, and then you like make observations and narrow it down and narrow it down, and then eventually it's like, this is this tree or this is this shrub. And I thought all of those factors were really, really cool, and I really miss the game. um But yeah, I'm gonna have to see if I can kind of play that again, because I really miss it. It was such a good game. But
Yeah,
generally,
I googled it. I found tons of places you can get it.
honestly, that doesn't really surprise me that much. But yeah, I really thoroughly enjoyed that game, and just generally the Sims games, I love them. I think Sims 4. I don't know what my hours are in Sims 3 when I had Sims 3, but I think Sims 4 is probably my most played game ever. Um I think I have over 4,000 hours in that game at this point,
A good chunk of
which,
your life.
yeah. Um and I probably got at least nearly to that point in Sims 3, if not more than, because I did play that a whole hell of a lot too.
Hmm.
Um But yeah, just the Sims games, I love them. I miss Sim Park. I would like them to redo Sim Park. Please. Please make it again. I want it. I like it. It was great. There was a little frog guy that like uh I was gonna try and mimic his accent. I really can't, but it was like this little frog guy that was like your tutorial helper person, like had a really unique voice, and it was
I'm gonna have to
really
Google it and
fun.
listen to it.
Yeah, I can't remember if he even had a name. I'm sure he did, but I don't remember what it was. But I love that game so much. It brought me so much joy. And yeah, I if anyone's interested by any of that, apparently you can find it somewhere on the internet, and don't tell them I sold
Indeed.
you. Don't tell them we sent you, but if that sounds interesting, maybe look it up. Maybe see if you can maybe find it somewhere.
Do your own investigation to
Yeah.
find it.
Don't download suspicious files from the internet. That's how viruses happen.
Exactly. Yes. Very suspicious. Um, Speaking of educational games,
Mm-hmm.
um, I also had one, and it is very much like Sonic the Hedgehog in the sense of you jump up and you jump on top of things to like damage it. It
Mm-hmm.
was called Awesome Possum, and it was also for the Sega Genesis. The game was all about and it was 100%, and I guarantee you it was a Sonic ripoff because
Mm-hmm.
the whole theme of the game when it started up was this like melodic, like almost opera like singing of these people going, Awesome Possum kicks Dr. Machino's butt. And then Awesome Possum popping up on the screen going, I'm awesome. But he was a possum, and you'd run around and you'd collect pieces of trash on the ground, damaging things that were like, harming the
Mm-hmm.
environment and everything.
Oh, it does
After
look a lot like
every,
Sonic.
yep, after every single like wand stage, he'd do this little dance thing, and then it would ask you a question or two about the environment
Ah.
and like about these animals, what do they do, or what is this breed of animal that does this, or how does
Mm.
this harm the environment, and things like that. And it was really educational, and every time you'd get one right, you'd get bonus points. If you got it wrong, the little animals asking you this question would have like this offended, almost shocked face, and it was like, oh my god, I got it wrong, I'm so sorry. But it was really fun. You got to go through multiple stages. One of the bosses was like a construction like robot thing, tearing down the forest. Another one
Mm.
was a scuba diver polluting the ocean.
Ugh.
Um, Another one was like mainline like toxic environment, like construction to like a cityscape kind of a
Mm.
thing with tons of trash everywhere. But like it was such a game that really got me thinking about, how things destroy the earth, but at the same time, well, especially as an influential kid, but at the same time was also super fun. There was no multiplayer on it, but me and my brother would take so many turns going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth on this.
Mm.
We loved the game, and it is still one of my favorites that I totally plan on finding again and playing because that game was just so good.
Mm. Trying to think of like what else. I mean, so there was also one I used to play on the Game Boy called Dragon Warrior Monsters. I used to like that game.
Yes.
Um I wouldn't say it was one of my favorites, but it was my most played non-Pokemon Game Boy game. I would say I had a few of them. I think there was a Beauty and the Beast game I had. I can't remember what other ones I had. Most of the Game Boy Color games I had were Pokemon games. But that was the one that I played most apart from all of my Pokemon games. That one was quite fun. There was also fuck, I thought of something a minute ago and I've immediately forgotten. I'm sure it'll come back to me.
That's fair.
But the next one I had on my list was Knights of the Old Republic, which
Oh, such a good one.
is one that I wasn't really sure which list to put it in because I've played it more as an adult, but I fell in love with it when I was a kid. I've still never completed it. I keep getting to like the final fight and then not being able to fucking win, and then I get pissed off, so then I restart the game. Like, well, I rage quit, don't play it for ages, and then I'm like, okay, I want to play this game again, but I'm stuck where I am, so I have to go back and start the game again.
Hmm.
But I love that game. I used to really like watching my brother play it. Um, Same with like Final Fantasy. I used to like watching him play that. But I absolutely fell in love with KOTOR, and it is a big part of the reason for a lot of my current favorite games. Some of the ones in my adulthood favorite playlist. Playlist? List. Fuck, I can't English today. It is a big part of the reason. I love the fantasy of it, the sci-fi. I love Star Wars. I was a fan of Star Wars and Star Trek growing up. I
Hmm.
will forever be confused as to why there are so many arguments and debates about which one's better because I'm like, you could have both.
¿Por qué no las dos?
Yeah, exactly. Porque no los dos? You could have both, you could have a little Star Wars here, and a little Star Trek here, and a little Stargate, and a little Farscape, and you could just love all of them, and it's all fine. That's okay. It's okay to love them all. It's okay to just really fucking like sci-fi and not really want to choose between two massive sci-fi franchises. Like, they don't have to compete. They both have their good
Exactly.
and bad points, and we don't need to go into them all and debate about it. You can just love them, and then lovingly insult them sometimes when call them out on their shit, because everyone needs to be called out on shit sooner or later, you know? Like, I don't fangirl over everyone. I'm just like, no, I really like Star Wars, but I also really like Star Trek. But yeah, so I
Right.
KOTOR, I love. Um, it just yeah, I liked the moral um mechanic of like the light versus dark. Your character would
Mhm.
go lighter or darker depending on what you would do. Um, that was really interesting to me. Um, do you have any other childhood favorites on your list?
Yes, I have
Okay.
one, two, three.
Oh wow. Okay. Go for it.
So another one on the list is Shining Force for the Sega Genesis. Shock
Mm-hmm.
shock. I loved this game where I didn't get to play it on the Genesis. I did get a like Sega Genesis collections game as a kid that would run on the computer and it had Shining Force. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
what is this? It was my first experience into the party system of like most modern like RPGs where you have like a sword fighter, a mage, all that. It was my first experience into that world. It had characters all over the place. You had archers, you had mages, you had monks, you had healers, you had swordsmen, you had warriors, you had a werewolf, you had bird people, you had um just a whole smorgasbord of different kinds of creatures and people and classes that you had. They would all level differently. You'd have people of the same class who would learn completely different spells. Um, it was a phenomenal game. The story itself was at that time for me captivating. I loved watching every ounce of it. The level of customization in the game isn't as intense.
Mm.
Um, but the gameplay itself is wonderful because you can have up to a max party of 12 people, and it's a turn-based grid like fighting. So
Okay.
you'd move people into different grids, kind of like how in D&D you move them through a grid, you find where you're at and you do something.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of the same thing, but you had like a list of 32 different people potentially to use, and you can mix them up and everything. And the best part that I had anxiety about is you could miss people. You could miss them entirely and never recruit them.
Hmm.
So being able to go around, explore the towns, find out secrets and everything, I freaking loved the game. And it also furthered my desire to do pixel art as well. And then I got pretty decent at it. I wouldn't call myself a professional at all in any way,
Mm.
but there was a little stream that me, Zoe, and then one of our friends, Socks, did where we took different Pokemon, put them through a generator to get a different result, and then make our own versions.
Yep.
Some of the results were just crazy.
Squirt Queen.
Like, I think one of
The
my yeah,
the Squirtle mixed with Nido
Squirt
Queen.
Queen.
Squirt Queen. That's
Some
my favorite.
I will have to find. I think my favorite was the Ghastly Growlithe combo because
Mm.
that one just looked good.
Growly. I think we
Growly,
called that one. And then there was
I
it
think so.
Disaster Pea or something, which was Caterpie mixed with something else. I don't remember what.
Caterpie mixed with what was it? Omanite,
Oh yeah, where did
and we
the
had the Great Lord Helix.
yeah?
God, some of those were so messed up.
Oh, they were
But
so
like
funny though.
doing those really like I used to do pixel art all the time, and Shining Force was one of those games that really got me into it
Mm.
because you had so many options, and it would throw it out to like little tiny little like people around the map. But when you're in a battle, it was a full scale art, and I'm like, this is so cool. And as a kid, my brain was like, I'm gonna replicate that one day. I'm gonna make tons of things like that. And then I started paying taxes and doing a job, and that changed everything.
Yeah.
And now I'm starting to get back into it.
Becoming an
Like,
adult,
fuck you,
quickest
world.
dream crusher of any child.
Right?
Growing up. Ah, when I'm older, I can
And
do all this
then,
cool shit. Oh no, I'm older. I can't do any of this cool shit because I have to make money, pay
right.
bills.
And then the closer you get to your 30s, you're like, oh, hey, all these things as a kid I wanted to do. I'm gonna go back to it.
Yeah, it's like, pff, I'm over it. I'm over being an adult. I want to be a kid again, just
Right.
sometimes for a little bit, but with adult money. Like, it takes you a few years to
Uh,
realize that, like, sometimes the way you can treat yourself as an adult is not by going on holiday necessarily. I mean, that's nice too, or like going out for an expensive meal. Sometimes it's buying yourself something or using a little bit of your adult money to do something that child you really wanted to do but couldn't afford
exactly.
because you grew up poor.
Mood.
It's like, oh, I have adult money now. I could maybe buy this game that I wanted to play when I was little that I could not afford. Or I could do this activity I wanted to do when I was little that my family couldn't afford. Like, it's good. Sometimes
Right.
the adult money is helpful, and sometimes it's really stressful.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But as much as Shining Force, it really shaped a lot of my preference when it comes to games and shaped how I look at D&D entirely.
Mm,
Cuz I got into D&D back when I was like 21, 20 years old, something like that.
mm,
And 14, 15 years ago, it was so much different, but having that background with Shining Force really put into perspective where you place yourself, how
mm.
you attack, and all those things, along with what your party can do around you, which in D&D is so much harder to do because
Yeah.
everybody has different ideas. You're like, I have set you up for the perfect attack. Cool, I'm gonna seduce. Thanks,
Yeah.
Bard.
There's a lot more variables
Thanks.
with playing D&D with other real people.
Right, right. But that is why Shining Force is still one of my absolute favorites and why I'm playing it through again. So, and then on childhood favorites, I still have three more, so fair warning.
uh I I I would say I don't have necessarily any more like top favorites left in childhood, but I do have a selection of honorable mentions.
Run the list. Do it.
So I have I don't know if this was a website that was popular over there or not, but I used to play on mini clip games, um, and it had like a lot of flash games on it. It was like a game
Mhm.
hosting website kind of thing. And there was, I think, Club Penguin was on there at one point. I loved
Oh,
Club
Club
Penguin.
Penguin.
I'm not even ashamed to admit it. Um, there was a game. It was a platformer called Save the Sheriff, where you played as a pig. Like, the sheriff got kidnapped by bandits, and you played as a pig, and you had to like go save him and like
Hmm.
defeat enemies and go find the sheriff and stuff. And that was really cute and silly. There was another platformer that was, I think it was called Happy the Elf or something like that. It was like Happy the Elf Saves Christmas or something like that, and it was like the gifts had got stolen by like, I don't, was it Evil Penguins? I think it was Evil Penguins, and
Man, screw
that
the
was a
Penguins.
similar kind of platformer where you had to like go through the levels and get the presents back from the evil penguins or whatever it was, and that again was just a silly game that I put more hours into than I maybe should have when it was at school age and I should have been doing homework, but like everything was stress and those games were nice, so I played them. um
If it works.
Yeah, and then uh I'll go through the other like computer honorable mentions, and then
Hmm.
you can say your next one, and then I'll say the other honorable mentions.
Go for it.
Okay, so the other computer honorable mentions, there was Toontown, which,
Oh, Toontown.
yeah, I fucking loved that game. I was so upset when they closed it down because they
Hmm.
closed it down. I think, if I remember correctly, they closed it down to make way because Club Penguin was taking off, and they
Hmm.
closed down Toontown to basically give so they could funnel more resources into Club Penguin. And I was
Hmm.
like, I like both of these games, but you didn't have to take that one away. There are
Right.
there are original Toontown uh downloads available online. Don't tell them I sent you. Um and I played it, and it's pretty close to the original game that I used to play. I played it like a few years after they closed it down. I was like, I'm angry. I want Toontown, and I googled it and I found it, and I was like, oh, I don't know if it still exists because that was quite a few years ago now. But yeah, I loved playing Toontown. Um and oh, RuneScape was one I played quite a lot. Um and Habbo Hotel. Did you ever play Habbo Hotel?
No.
Oh, that one was fun. That one approached the line of it was it was kind of kid-ish, like preteen-ish
Hmm.
game, but there I think that was like one of my first experiences of people being more vulgar than their years should have allowed them to be on the internet, was Habbo Hotel. There were a lot of like teenagers being inappropriate in public on the internet in Habbo Hotel. That is
So
like one of the main things I remember. Like, it wasn't horrible, but it was a bit like, all right, you need to chill. You need to just calm down, big man. Like, you're a fucking 12-year-old. We're all like preteens here. You need to chill the fuck out. Like,
hmm.
it was, I think that was my main first experience of just how vulgar teenagers can be online, and I was just sitting there like, oh, I'm just here for the bright colors and the like 64-bit graphics, and I don't I don't really think I like people. It's
Fair.
like, it was fun, but it was also like, that was, I mean, you got kind of some of that in RuneScape too, where it was like, yeah, I like this, but I'm not sure I really like it. It would be maybe better if there weren't other people here.
Right.
And then the last kind of honorable mention I have for like PC games is probably should have been higher in this list, to be honest. Mystery Case Files games. They
Don't know that one.
are hidden object games where you're like a
Oh.
detective solving crime scenes, basically.
Hmm.
Um, and me and my mum both loved playing those games. We both continued to love playing those games. They have brought out at least one game a year, every year since they started bringing out games, and I fucking love them. My mum had a or has a game account with like the company that distributes them, like,
Hmm.
and you get like loyalty points and stuff. And it's a really old account, but she has nearly all, apart from the ones that came out in the last few years, nearly all of the Mystery Case Files games still on that account.
Oh
So,
man.
and she gave me the login, so we can both play like Mystery Case Files games whenever we want. And because she had the cat account for so long, she racked up so many loyalty points that now it's like, oh, we could get the ones we're missing from the collection for free because you have all these loyalty points. So it's really cool. So we've that's one that's kind of stuck with us and resurfaces for both of us every few years, where it's like, man, we really want to play some Mystery Case Files, and then we'll go play some. Um, but yeah, that's what got me into hidden object games. I love hidden object games, and that's why, because I used to love playing Mystery Case Files.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, that's my last PC honorable mention. What is
Nice.
next on your list?
Next on my list is for the Dreamcast, which
Mm-hmm.
is Skies of Arcadia. If any of you know this game, you're an OG and you're amazing. It is it
I'm
is
not an
a
OG. I'm not amazing. No.
you're an exception. But this game is all about sky pirates. Like I freaking love this game. It's
Oh, I saw
got
you play a bit of this on stream.
yeah, I actually beat it not long ago, which is the first time I ever beat it because the disc
Hell
we had on the
yeah.
Dreamcast was damaged. So I could only make it to
Oh.
the like oh the mini boss
Mm,
in the fire area before, you made it to like the actual boss.
that sucks.
I thought it was the final boss of that area. It was
Oh
not.
no.
This thing was brutal because if it ever used a certain move, it froze the game.
Mm,
I cannot tell you how many times me and my brother tried to beat this boss before it used that move. We got
mm,
so close so many times, but we could never do it.
mm.
But the game is phenomenal. It's got a 6-element wheel in there, and it's not like one element beats this element. It's more of this element does this much extra damage to these, but less to these.
Mm.
Um, you could change the element of your weapon at any time in battle, as long as it was your turn. Uh,
Kind of
your
like with the
weapons
Pokemon energy mechanic, where it's like certain types are more effective against other certain types and less
kind
effective.
of yes.
Kind of that sort of mechanic.
Um,
Nice, I like that.
kind of, but it wasn't like this element dealt, bonus damage to this. It was more of like this one dealt a little more damage to here, but dealt even more to this one, and just neutral damage to everything else.
Mm,
But your weapons would change color depending on the moonstone, which is the element that you would change to.
mm-hmm.
Um, you would get party members that would come in and out. You'd get really interesting weapons. Let's see. One guy had a gun, another person had a rapier. Main character had 2 cutlasses. The other, like one of the main female characters, had a boomerang.
That's cool.
Another one had this little creature that they called a cupel that would change its form depending on how many things you fed it. So it would
Hmm.
change its attack power and form throughout combat as you went up
That's
by
cool.
finding these little foods that it would eat. Yeah, another guy who had like a mechanical arm. Like the game was so radical and so underhyped. They had
Mm.
plans to make a second one, but because it was one of those like not as popular ones, it just kind of went under. And since then, they have made cameos in different games.
It reminded me, when I was watching you play it, it really reminded me of Final Fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
And I really loved that about it.
That
I
is
was very
one
drawn
of my
to
favorite
that.
things about
I very much enjoyed watching you play the bits that I watched you play. I was like, yeah, man, this
it.
is
Mhm.
good. This is a good game. I like this.
It was so good, which is why I fell in love with Final Fantasy.
Mm.
Which ironically, is one of the next ones on my list. But I'm gonna let you go on yours before I delve into that one.
um, so my last kind of honorable mention for my childhood games is the Mario, basically. But
Mhm.
mainly um Mario Kart.
Mhm.
I used to play with my youngest cousin whenever we would go to visit that auntie. Um,
Mhm.
he would always ask me to come up upstairs into the game room and play Mario Kart on the Wii with him, and it was really fun, and it was just really really nice, and it was a really nice time. We really enjoyed it. We were very much like, we had that nice kind of energy if we were competitive, but we weren't super competitive with each other.
Mhm.
It was like we were glad, our goal was to just place one and two,
Mhm.
like get first and second. We didn't care which one of us got first, which one of us got second, as long as we were the first two to cross the finish line. It was like, even though those races, it was like every man for himself, our
Mhm.
our kind of mindset on it was, it's us two against the world. And that was really nice.
Right.
And it's like, if we got like a red shell, um
Mhm.
and like one of us was in first, because I think on that game you had to throw the red shell forwards, you couldn't throw it backwards on the first
Yep.
Mario Kart game. And I don't even know if this was the first one that we were playing, but whichever one it was playing, we couldn't throw it forward. Couldn't throw it backwards. You had to throw it forwards. And so, if one of us got a red shell, it was like, we can't get another power up until we've used this one. So we have to use
Mhm.
this one. So if like one of us was in second and we got a red shell, we would like warn the other and be like, I've got to throw this. Like, just incoming red shell. And we'd like
Mhm.
warn each other. Or like, I'm gonna use my ink power up, or like blue shell come in. Like, we'd warn each other for the unavoidable power ups being used.
Mhm.
And that was really nice, because again, it was like, as long as we fucking knocked out everyone, all of the NPCs, we didn't care which one of us got first. As long
Right.
as us two crossed the line before the rest of them, we were happy. So that was really nice. And then a similar sort of vibe was rolling forward a few years into sort of teenage Zoe. Um
Mhm.
uh Super Mario Brothers 3, because my nephews had it on their Nintendo DS's, but they would get stuck a lot, especially
Mhm.
one more so than the other. So they would ask me to help like get them past certain levels. So a lot of the time, whether I was just visiting my sister or whether I was just, if I was there to babysit, I'd spend a lot of time like playing Super Mario Bros 3 with like one twin, but the twins each side of me, just like watching me play Mario on their DS. And it was great because it was like, I didn't have my own Super Mario Bros 3, so I only got to play that when I was at my sister's, and they were like, Auntie Zoe, can you help me get past this level? I'm stuck on Mario again. And I'd be like, yeah,
And you're
sure,
like,
bud.
yes.
And then it's like, it was like a win-win, because I got to play Mario, and also I got past the bits they were stuck on, and then I'd give it back to them, and then they could carry on their game. So it was like both helping each other out, like a team effort. It was really fun. So yeah, those are games that like I didn't actually own myself in my childhood, but I really enjoyed playing them. A, because they're just good games, but B, because of
Mhm.
like the bonds that were made through
Mhm.
playing them was really nice. But yeah, that's I think all of the games I can think of for my childhood that I really really enjoyed playing. I mean, obviously there are others, but like those are the ones that are like, yeah, I really had good positive experiences with those games. Although maybe not quite so much RuneScape and Habbo. Those, it's just like I played them more than I should have, but I didn't really have anything better to do.
That's fair.
Mm.
But like, honestly, making bonds like that in games sometimes makes the games even more entertaining.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of the games nowadays that do have some kind of multiplayer function are so amazing because of the
Yeah.
community and the ability to like bond with people, whether it be in the game or outside the game.
Mm. Yeah, because like a lot of the games that I play now that are multiplayer, like I don't like PvP. Um, I I don't know. I don't mind Among
It
Us.
depends on the
Among Us
PvP
can be
for me.
fun if you've got the good. If you've got a closed like a closed group, closed lobby kind of group of people, then PvP can be fun. But I still don't prefer it. Um, I prefer co-op multiplayers. Um,
Hmm.
like the ones I play now is like Destiny 2. I play like Phasmo, Lethal Company. Those are like the multiplayer games I play, and it's like again the kind of us against the world mentality. I like
Hmm.
that. But it's like Fortnite, for example, like I have Fortnite, I play Fortnite. The only reason that I play it is the only reason I have it downloaded is because my sister's kids play it.
Hmm.
Mainly the boys, but I think uh the think the older girls play it sometimes as well, just not as
Hmm.
much. Um and so they got her into it, and then she's like, I need an adult. I need another adult. Hey, Zoe, you like video games? Play Fortnite with us. I was like, I really don't want to. And she's like, come on, it'll be fun because it's with us. And I was
And
like,
you're like, okay, sure.
all right, yeah, fine.
Right.
Like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. So that's why I have that. And again, it's like, yeah, it's PvP, and I don't really like PvP very much. I don't really super enjoy playing Fortnite that much, to be honest. But playing it with my sister and the kids is like, that's fun because that's creating bonds or like strengthening bonds because those bonds are fucking
Right.
the bond between me and my sister could never be broken. But it's, adding even more strength to it, just having nice fun time with people that like I already have fun times with, like that's when it's chill. And Fallout, I guess, is PvP. Not Fallout, Fall Guys is PvP, I suppose,
Hmm.
but it's not in a aggressive PvP kind of way. It's just like a,
It's kind of like PvPvE, like
yeah.
player versus player, but mainly versus the environment.
Yeah, there are some challenges in that game that are more PvP and less PvE.
I feel like it might be more
Like the
classified as free for
the
all.
tail tag game, for example. Like
Yep.
that one you're like actively chasing each other, but most of them it's just who can get through this assault course the fastest. Like that's what
Hmm.
most of the levels are. There are a few where you do actively like attack each other with balls or try and snag the tails from each other, but most of the levels are PVE, and it's just like who can get through it fast for the first. So I prefer like that. That's fine. I can do that. That's good. But yeah, I'm just not a PvP girly. I
That
don't
is
prefer it.
100% fair.
I like a good co-op, but I'm not a PvP lover.
It is fair.
So what's the last
Um,
one on your childhood list?
I actually have two.
Boy.
So one of them on there, which I kind of touched on a little bit, is actually Final Fantasy, and it's Final Fantasy X. Um,
Mm.
I remember my first introduction to watching this game played was my brother-in-law was playing it, and he had made it all the way to where he had obtained the summon Bahamut, which at that
Mm.
time was the coolest looking thing I had seen in my entire life. Well, at one point he's like, "Well, I'm done. I played this game, way too much. I am done with it. Here, you guys can have it." So he gave us the PlayStation 2 and the game. I played it for about 45 minutes.
Mm.
Next thing I know, it is the next morning. My insomnia kicked in and I played it for 11 hours.
Damn. I think Ifrit is my
I
favorite of Eunice summons.
Oh, honestly, Ifrit is in my top three. It's
Mm.
Ifrit, Ixion, and Bahamut. Oh, ah, I the things I would do to summon them in real life.
Oh, tell me about it. Oh my, well, I mean, don't. We're on recording a podcast. Maybe don't tell me about it right now. Tell me about it another time.
Well, for a later time.
Ifrit would get it though. I'm not gonna lie.
In what sense?
Whatever sense you want. Whatever sense he wants
I
to
think
get
I
it
want
in.
the innocent one. But anyways, the game itself, what blew me away most was the absolutely like free range customization you could have with it. And the international versions, Sphere Grid for customizing and everything, only expanded on that because everybody started roughly in the same area, and then you could just go on this standardized path that they have for them, or you could branch into a different one. So I would always like mix and match. I'd have one person who is primarily like only land based fighter have like all the attack power. Then I'd
Mm.
give like one person on the ground always have, some crazy good magic stat, and then someone who could heal. And then there were three characters that could easily go underwater and were the underwater fighters. I went all out equipping them with like good healing, good magic, good offense because the game will force you to split the party. And
Mm.
I got screwed over so many
Oh
times
no.
because of that. Because there was two people I just never invested anything into. Because I was definitely a I play favorites kind of kid growing up. I would
Mm.
specialize in these specific people, and everybody else would die around me.
Mm.
That was a time. But the game really did help me with the knowledge I had through like Shining Force and everything and Skies of Arcadia. I was able to like put together like long drawn out battle strategies and everything.
Mm.
Um and I the one thing that I still to this day have a problem with is remembering that debuffs are a thing you should use. Debuffs are a thing you should use.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, I struggle to remember that with games too sometimes.
right, especially in like for example Pokemon, you just never remember that.
Oh god, yeah.
You're like, "Okay, I have this attack." And then they start leering you and you're like, "What are you doing?" Then they hit you once, and you're like, "Oh, that's what you're doing. You're setting up."
Yo. Also,
But
Lulu would also get it.
oh no, look, Lulu in a heartbeat. Also, Waka if he shut up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do like the character development for every single person though. They all
Mm.
had their own story that didn't rob anybody else of anything. And I loved watching it happen. Like Lulu, you saw her attachment with
I
certain people grow and her heart go from this cold bitch to someone who actually cares.
I was
You have the story of
also
like Kamari and Waka.
I was
Go
just
ahead.
gonna say I was also kind of like weirdly attracted to Kamari.
The fact that he had abs is not
The
fair.
male presenting characters in Final Fantasy X that I had crushes on were Ifrit and Kamari, and the female presenting characters was Lulu and Yuna.
Look, Lulu, Yuna, absolutely. Kamari and Waka for me for just the party.
Mm. And I don't know what it was about Ifrit, but there was just something about Ifrit that I
The
was like,
abs.
I like you, dude.
It's the abs.
Yeah,
I'm telling you,
probably.
if you go back and rewatch, it's the abs and like
Yeah.
the like more tan skin tone and everything.
I
Like
also liked the kind of like lion's mane that he's got going on. I love lions, dude. I'm a
right,
Leo. It's not I'm a
Arnar,
Virgo, it's I'm a Leo.
I'm a Leo.
I'm a
But
Leo.
that game, it's a staple of
Mm.
like my favorite games, and I will go back to it any given time. The other one that I have was for the GameCube. It was called Amazing Island.
Okay.
If you've never heard of this game, I'm not surprised. But it is kind of like Pokemon in the sense where you train up monsters, but in this one you could do like little fights or mini games that you would do to basically save the island.
Mm.
But unlike capturing generic monsters, you had to make your monster. You had to custom
Oh.
draw it. And when you
Oh.
were done, you had certain like accessories you could add on, like claws, little
That's
siren
cool.
lights, eyeballs, things
That's
like that. You
really
could dye the
cool.
skin, and you unlocked more as you did things. And we played the heck out of this game as kids. We would try to create the coolest looking people, and then sometimes the dumbest. The dumbest were honestly the best.
I
But
just
it,
remembered
uh
another PlayStation game that I cannot believe I did not list earlier when I was listing my PlayStation games.
what is it?
Spyro.
Oh, Spyro.
I loved
Loved
Spyro.
that game. I forgot it existed.
Mm,
Object permanence is a bitch.
yep. Like Crash Bandicoot, Rayman, Spyro.
The
I
three.
loved them. And then yeah, Wacky Races, because it's Wacky Races.
Who didn't enjoy that game?
I was always
Um,
Penelope Pitstop, because when I was little,
yeah,
I loved Pink.
Penelope. I cannot remember because I kept swapping between them
I loved
so
Muttley's little
often.
laugh. Anytime anyone has like a really hissing laugh, like giggle like that, all I can think of is Muttley. I'm just like, bro.
Right,
What was it?
right. And then the
Dastardly
guy with like
Dan?
the dumb Dastardly Dan and Muttley. Yep. And he would have like that crazy mustache and like the purple vehicle every time.
Mm. He was basically
Yeah.
Waluigi before Waluigi was Waluigi.
Oh, 100%. 100,000%.
And Penelope
But
Pitstop
like,
really reminded me of Princess Peach. Was Wacky Races...
yeah,
Did Wacky Races exist before Princess Peach was pink? I'm gonna have to Google
Google
this.
is going to tell me.
Yep. Wacky Races. First release date.
I'm going to look up Peach.
14th of September 1968 was when Wacky Races came out. Princess Peach first appearance
Her first in the
was
iconic pink ball gown,
1985.
1991,
Wait, what?
when she came out, but she didn't wear her iconic pink ball gown until Super Mario World in 1991.
Interesting.
She was the original
Oh,
Princess Peach.
Dastardly Dan was blue and red, not purple.
Oh, maybe I just slurred them together.
Oh no, in the cartoon he's more purple.
I swore he was.
Yeah, maybe it like kind of started as more blue and then it got more purple. Or maybe it was the other way around. Maybe it started more purple and got more blue.
I have no idea.
But like the first... Let's see.
Well, that's a tangent that we weren't expecting.
Yeah, like... Listen, I don't want to start any fights with Nintendo, but I feel like Mario kind of ripped off Wacky Races in a few different areas.
There's a lot of games that ripped off. Like Awesome Possum ripped off Sonic. Let's be completely 100% honest here. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
I almost feel like we're totally safe, like moving into another episode with our adulthood favorite games.
Honestly, I have I feel like I have less to talk about with my adulthood, but I also like I know what we're like with tangents. So yeah. I maybe we should do the adulthood and comfort favorites in the next episode, just to kind
Which, knowing us, we'll
break
go
it
into
up.
the adulthood games and then go to the comfort ones after. Comfort escape ones.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just as we were talking about stuff, like more memories were being triggered in my brain. I'm like, oh yeah, I loved that game too, and I loved this game, and oh my god,
Oh,
I'm
I
like,
played that game as a kid.
shit. Yeah, I really do want to go back and replay a lot of these games. Like,
I am gonna tell you now. I've already downloaded 3 of them to play again.
Yeah, like I really want to go back and play some of the Final Fantasy games because I didn't really get to play a lot of them when I was younger. That's why they weren't on
Mhm.
my list, is because I mainly just watched my brother play them. Um, but I really want to go play some of those. I really want to play Abe's Odyssey. Um,
I've heard of that one.
I want to get my Oddworld on. Um, yeah, and one of these days I have to actually finish Knights of the Old Republic. I've lost count of how many times I've started that game and I've not finished it once. But it is a wonderful game and I love it. I've started the second one a couple times too, but I'm scared to get too far into that before finishing the first one because I'm like, I feel like maybe I shouldn't. I feel like I shouldn't. I just feel like I shouldn't get too far into that before I finish the first one in case of spoilers. Ooh.
Right? Because there's
Although,
other
to be fair,
games.
I've watched my brother complete Knights of the Old Republic back in the day, so I know
You know
what
what
the
happens.
basic plot line is of both of the games, but I don't remember a lot of. I watched him play the first one way more than I watched him play the second one, so I don't remember a lot of the second one, and I'm like, I want to make sure I have all the information possible from the first game before I go into the second one, because that one's there's going to be more in it that's new to me
Mm-hmm.
because I don't remember it as well. So yeah, I really wanna replay that. And Final Fantasy, I have been starting to replay the Mystery Case Files games again. Um,
Oh, good games.
like I said, with my mum giving me her login to that particular account so that I can download them onto my PC and play them. That's been really good. I just I find it really, it's like when I don't want to have to do too much, but I want my you know when your brain's kind of in that weird ADHD space where it's like I want to do something, but I really don't know what I want to do. And it's like I
Mm-hmm.
can't really tell the level of thinking I can access today. I find hidden object games really good for that kind of brain space
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of them are very like it's like looking through a Where's Wally book or Where's Waldo book where it's like I can do this level and then if that was too much for my brain, that level's done and I can save and exit and I don't have to continue. And or if I have more brain power than I think I have that day, it's like it's good for kind of assessing brain power. And it's like,
Right.
or if I have quite a lot of brain power for that kind of thinking and searching, then you can just kind of hyper focus in on the game and just do level after level after level for as long as you can stand, and then it's really good for that kind of thing.
Right.
And I just love mystery stuff, mystery and puzzle
Right.
games. I really like that shit. I think my main genres, which are patterns that have been formed because of the games I loved playing as a kid, are like I love mystery and puzzle games. Um and platformers.
Mm-hmm.
And I also love the more like um involved player choice story driven games because of Kota. Um it just made me fall in love with that kind of game. And then simulation games, like life
Mm-hmm.
sim games. And it like you boil that back and that's like most of the games that I've talked about today from my childhood that I've loved the most is like simulation games, player choice, story driven games, or like mystery and puzzle. That's mystery puzzle platformer kind of, that's those are my favorites genre-wise, I think. Which I feel like we have a lot of that in common. We just didn't necessarily play the same games. Because you're
Mhm.
more of a Sega fan than I was.
Yeah, I so much am.
Mm. Um, which I think is mainly just because, like, I just had to play whatever I got access to, and, like, what I got access to was whatever my brother was tired of playing. So my my things were kind of skewed by whatever my brother got, then I got when he was bored of it. Like
Mhm.
um but yeah, I feel like we have a lot of genres in common.
I would agree,
Just
but
different games.
oh yeah. And I know that once we get into the more like adult games that we
Mm.
played, we're gonna go off, and you're gonna see the difference between what we played as kids and adults,
Yeah.
and if
But
there is any.
But I also think it's good that, like, we have, even though we have similar genres, we play different games, because then it's like we can recommend things to each other. We can compare the things where it's like it's in the same genre. We can compare games that we know each other know,
Mm-hmm.
and then we can recommend things to each other. It's like, okay, you like that game, which is like this game I played, so maybe you would like this game that I played that you didn't play. Like Skies of
Right.
Arcadia, I'd love to fucking play that game because it's similar to Final
I can
Fantasy.
get you the resources.
I may hit you up on that at some point. Not yet, because I have so many games I'm trying to
You have so
fucking
much.
play through right now. My god. I feel like just looking at my many collections of games across my many places I can play games would be enough to diagnose my ADHD if it hadn't already been diagnosed. You know, like there's a
And what
lot
would
of
confirm it
ADHD.
is how well they're sorted.
There's a lot of ADHD things about me that's like that are quite evident, but I feel like my issue with like the D really comes in my gaming. That sounded
Yep.
really, really bad when I said it out loud. The
Especially with your ifrit
distractions,
conversation.
the attention deficit really comes in with my gaming. Because I jump between games so much. It's honestly rare if I finish a game.
Right.
Like I'm not so bad with that actually these days. There are a few games that I have finished, some of which I won't spoil because they'll be discussed in the next episode.
Yes.
You'll have to stay tuned for that.
Right.
Oh,
But
but
as
that was fun.
always, thank you guys so much for lending us your ear. If you want, you can find me on Twitch at _DangerBacon. I've been doing a lot more there.
Mm-hmm.
So come join, have fun.
Yeah.
We will talk.
Yep. And you can find me at YouTube. Uh, at YouTube on YouTube as Witch Vamp Zoe, or on Twitch as Vamp Zoe. And I mean that's about it. I haven't really
Right.
been posting much on YouTube lately. I haven't streamed since I think February. Um, because I've been trying to get through some stuff, and I also wanted to wait until I got my new PC. I was like really fucking scrimping and saving up for this beautiful new PC that I now have, and I wanted to get that bought and arrived and all set up right and settled. And this is really the first time that I've recorded anything uh on my PC since I've had it. So this is going to be a nice test run for the Streamlabs and editing processes and stuff on the new PC.
Mhm.
So hopefully there will be more things coming to my Twitch and YouTube soon. But at the moment they're both kind of on a hiatus because real life gets in the way sometimes, and that's okay. Take breaks when you have to. This is your PSA for today. Take breaks when you need to.
Right.
Take care of
Also,
yourselves.
if you want, leave us ideas or suggestions or any comments for episode topics. And if you have any, you can leave those on the subreddit r/bisexual disasters. We would love to read them and discuss them, all of that. Please do, because that would be so fun to interact with.
Yeah. I see it. Hang on 1 second. I'm just.
I've already given a look through. It's one of those things that we would definitely love for you to be able to communicate with us and all of that through there. Please do. Please leave
Yeah.
comments.
Yeah. Send us your stuff. And it's like, whatever. Like, if there's a game that you really loved that we didn't mention from your childhood, especially if you are a you're a millennial too, right?
Me? Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. I was like, you're not that much older than me. But for some reason my brain short
Ouch.
circuited it and I was like, there's no way you're not a millennial.
Right.
um yeah, especially if you are a fellow millennial and you grew up around about the same time we did. Then, and we didn't mention any of the games you loved playing in your childhood, especially let us know, because maybe we just forgot. Maybe we didn't know it existed and we can go and seek it out.
Oh god, that would be so fun playing games
Yeah.
that we've never played.
Yes. But yeah, so thank you also for being patient with us, because we, like I said, we have both got a lot of shit going on. Some more personal than we're gonna bring up, and some
Oh yeah.
moving house. Goddamn. Like fuck.
So much packing.
So we're getting these out as much as we can. Hopefully we'll be able to kind of pick up the recording frequency, but we're not going to put too much pressure on ourselves, because that's when things get less likely to happen. Isn't
Exactly.
ADHD fun? But yeah, we've
But
got
thank you guys
loads.
again.
Yeah, we've got loads of ideas coming. So thank you guys for being patient. There is more. We're not fizzling out. We're just having a fucking time.
It's the disaster portion of bisexual
It
disasters.
really is. Like, if anyone, if you ever wondered why we're bisexual disasters, I feel like if you're still wondering by now, and you've listened to the whole episode and you're still wondering, I uh
You need some help.
I think maybe you might not know the definition of a disaster.
Right?
Yeah. And it's
Oh,
it's it's fine. It's fun. We'll be fine.
it is.
We'll be fine.
It's great.
This is fine.
We're okay.
We're okay. No, I'm kidding. It's fine. Okay. But yes, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Be kind to yourselves and be kind to each other. Take breaks. And we
Indeed.
will see you or talk at you on the next episode. Goodbye.
Till then, have a good one. Bye.